Good evening, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of X Marks the Spot. Tonight's episode will be on prostate cancer awareness with Mr. Eric Taylor. But before we start, I want to thank tonight's sponsor, South Carolina Association for the Community Economic Development, Berkeley Electric Cooperative, the Cavalier Experience Photography, Brother Dr. Ron and Dr. Tamika Ravenel, Brother Eddie Bynes and family, Brother Morris Ravenel, share blessings by Monica and none other than Mr. God. Again, we want to welcome everybody, and we know this topic is very serious in men's health period, but most importantly, black males. And I'm going to introduce our speaker for tonight, but before I do that, let me give you a brief introduction about people out there that Mr. Eric Taylor is a graduate of Auburn University, where he holds Georgia.
Go ahead. We want to get closer to the mic. Get a little bit closer.
You can hear me?
We can hear you now.
You can hear me now? Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Brother George, are we good now? Again, I want to give a brief introduction of our dear brother, Brother Eric Taylor. Brother Eric Taylor is a graduate of Auburn University, where he holds a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and a graduate of the University of South Alabama, where he holds a Master's of Science in Nursing. He has been a registered nurse for over 25 years, of which the last 14 years he has worked as a certified family nurse practitioner. Mr. Taylor has served in various clinical and administrative roles, including critical care registered nurse, primary care nurse practitioner, GI hepatology nurse practitioner, telehealth, and advanced practice practitioner registered nurse council chair. He has several presentations, research projects, and publications to his credit. He has served as the NP facilitator in the Primary Care Center of Excellence, only one of 7 centers in the nation. At the Michael E. He's going to kill me for this, Dubele VA Medical Center, and currently as the clinical instructor at the University of Texas School of Nursing, Family Nurse Practitioner Program. He is a loving husband, a proud father, and a life member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, where he has held multiple leadership positions in his local chapter. He is the founder of Priority Male LLC, men's health and wellness education service in Houston, Texas market. Please welcome Mr. Eric Taylor.
All right. Thank you, Brother Seabrook, for that wonderful, warm introduction. And to Brother Johnson for the hard work behind the scenes. I appreciate you. And I want to start out how I want to finish. Thank you to the leadership, the chapter president, and all the leaders of the Xi Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated for the opportunity to be here, and for Brother Seabrook to be here on X Marks the Spot podcast to share this presentation with you all tonight. So looking forward to a great dialogue and a great presentation. So let's get started. Let me know when you're ready.
Right. And you remember what we talked about before the show started? It's like the technical everything was cool.
Yeah.
Right? So Brother Taylor, on behalf of the Xi Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, seated in Summerville, South Carolina, we especially appreciate you. We know you're a very busy man, and you took time out to help us get across this very serious message and this presentation you are about to present to our listeners. So without further ado, my dear brother, is on you.
I appreciate you, brother. And let's get started. All right, let me share my screen here. Let me open up the presentation here. All right, hold on. Technical difficulties, as we said. Here we go. Present, share. All right, so can you guys see my screen? Are we good? Are we good with the screen? Can you see it, brother? I can't hear anybody. Can we? I want to make sure.
You're a go.
Good. We're good. Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, let me do that one. Sorry. Here we go. Let's get going. All right, brothers. So, prostate cancer, we're going to talk about here tonight. Again, I had a wonderful introduction, so we're going to move on beyond that. Today, our learning objectives. And now, brothers, I want you, for everybody watching tonight, I want you to be relaxed. I don't want you to be uptight and stressed, because I know how it is when we start talking health topics, going to the doctor. This is going to be cool and casual, and we're going to just have a good time here tonight. We're going to laugh and learn at first, and then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes here towards the end. But our learning objectives for tonight is we're going to discuss prostate cancer screening guidelines in the adult population. We're going to briefly discuss the importance of preventive health screening, because we can't talk about prostate cancer if we don't talk about prevention. And then we're going to review the stats on prostate cancer and facts and other screening. Now, Priority Male is my business where I do here in Houston, and it's where men's health is the priority. This was birthed many years ago, and I'm doing my part now to help lead this world better than I found it. And the purpose of Priority Male is to provide men's health education and heighten the awareness of preventable health problems, encouraging early detection and treatment among men of all ages. Now, don't fear the finger. Like I said, we're going to laugh and learn, because I want to make sure this really sinks in. It could save your life. Now, I want to preface this, men and ladies. They're not doing the digital rectal exam or the finger exam, not near as much as you thought they were or think they are. But if you need it, it could literally save your life. So don't fear the finger. And I wish you could see the writing on this guy's shirt, because that's what it's saying. And he's holding up that finger. Now, I'm here to give you the 411 before you have to call 911. Now, let's talk about it. Check engine light. Most men are mechanically inclined. And when it comes to this check engine light, if it pops up on anything that we own or operate, and if you mechanically inclined, which most men think they are, we're going to try to fix this, because we need that orange light to go away. That's a nuisance. You can't drive down the road, especially at night, with this orange light just glaring in your face. So most men going to fix this. And if they can't fix it, guess what? We call in a mechanic, because we want this fixed. Now, men, cars, and health. Some men take good care of the car. Others treat it like a member of the family. And this is so true, especially in our community. I got some uncles right now that will hurt you about their classic vehicle. And don't let them put them coveralls on, go down to the bottom of the hill, put that car on the jack, and get that cooler with them, you know what's in it, and play that music. Or they finna turn some wrenches. They finna snatch the transmission, put a carburetor in or something, and they finna get that ride going. And they are very serious about it. Now, when it comes to preventive care, I want you to focus on the prevention and the different stages of prevention. We're going to start at the bottom of this arrow here. Primary prevention is where the disease does not exist, and the goal is to detect it earlier or prevent it from developing. This is where you really want to be. That's why it's so important, men and women, if you're watching, that you see your doctor annually. Primary prevention is what we do in healthcare. But unfortunately, as you see, we move through this to the next one, secondary prevention. This is where the disease does exist, but the person is unaware. And most of the times they're asymptomatic. And we see this often with high blood pressure, because it is a silent killer. And the goal here is to identify and treat those people with the disease. But if you're not coming into the doctor's office, how are we going to treat you? And unfortunately, what I typically see is the last stage, tertiary prevention. This is where you come into the hospital. The disease exists and you are very symptomatic. And the goal now is to just keep you from having complications and keep you from being 6 feet under. So the goal with primary prevention, y'all, is to make sure we see our doctor annually, stay on top of our health, know our risk factors, and try to keep these things from happening. But if they happen, we need to manage them. Now, let's see here. Hold on. Oh, Got it. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Preventive care. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Would you guys agree with that? Yes, most of us do. Now, these are some things we're told to do. We're told to vaccinate our children, and we've been vaccinating ourselves here lately for COVID to prevent sickness for those that are okay with vaccines. We buy software to protect and prevent our computers and our TVs and all of these electronic appliances from getting viruses and shutting down. We change our motor oil every 5 to 10,000 miles to reduce engine wear, and we wash our hands to prevent the spread of disease. But we won't go to the doctor to prevent some of these things that happen on a regular basis. Now, I want you to look at this cartoon here. Check out what's missing. This is a men's health screening clinic. The doctor standing there with his hands behind his back, spider hanging off his stethoscope. The nurse with a chart in her hand, she just looked tired and ready to go home. You got cobwebs in the corner, spiders everywhere. One thing that's missing in this men's health screening clinic is the men, because they don't go. Now, when it comes to preventive health screening, there is a lot more than just below the belt issues, men, because a lot of times when we men do show up at the doctor, there's always something below the belt we want to handle. We want to ignore all this other stuff: lung, prostate, colorectal cancer screening, AAA or abdominal aortic aneurysm, hypertension or high blood pressure, dyslipidemia or high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, or what I like to call in our community, diabetes. And then you have obesity. And there's a new term called diobesity, where we have diabetes and obesity together in our community. Alcoholism, we know we drink a lot in our community. Y'all know y'all got somebody in the family that go pick up their prescription at the liquor store every Friday, and they get a couple of fifths, and by Sunday, all of them gone. We already know what's up, and some of them drinking right now, watching this possibly. And osteoporosis, HIV, hepatitis C, and many more. But these are just to scratch the surface of what you should be being screened for as we age. And one thing I want to leave with you here, one nugget of knowledge: remember, all of the screening that saves lives takes place between the 4th and the 7th decade of life. I'm going to repeat that for those in the back of the room, for those just coming in the room, and for those sitting in the balcony looking at their phone. Most of the preventive health screening that's going to save your life take place between the 4th decade and 7th decade of life. So between the ages of 40 and 75 is where most of these screenings take place. All right. Now, let's talk about some stats. And I like to round things up, so we're going to round a little bit here. I know this is straight from the CDC, but I think they've underreported some of this because what I see in clinical practice is a little bit different. But the first stat is pretty interesting. It says 28.3% regularly exercise and get physical activity. I would round that up to 30. I'm going to be a little generous, but what that does say is that out of 100%, 70% of us are not working out, and I think that's accurate. Next one is going to be 40.5% of men are obese. I'm going to round that up to about 41 because there's way more than that. You can just walk out in the community and you'll see it. 30.9%, I'm rounding up to 31, have 5 or more alcoholic beverages in one day at least once in the past year. And for some of them, that's today. 51.9% have high blood pressure. I'm going to round it up to 52% because a lot of them have it and don't know they have it. And a lot of them have it and know they have it and don't manage it. 13.1% smoke. I think that's underreported because when we talk about vaping, a lot of people don't count vaping as smoking. And I would round it up to about 15 to 20% because a lot of people have gotten away from the cancer sticks to traditional cancer sticks and are now doing these e-cigs, and they think they're not smoking because they're so much cleaner. Now, it's just as bad, if not worse. Then you got 12.5% of men younger than 65 years of age do not have health insurance. I think that's underreported. That's probably closer to 15% from what I see in real life practice. And then 13.2% rate their health as overall fair or poor. I think that's pretty accurate. Now, current stats on men's health. Leading causes of death for men are going to be heart disease at the top of the list. Now, women are very close, running a very close second in this situation here with heart disease. If we were running a race with heart disease, women and men would be a photo finish because women are right there at it, but they often get underreported and they're not represented in the numbers. And especially when they have all the educational material that they share, a lot of times is male predominant, but women have heart disease just as much as men. Cancer, it didn't specify what type, but men have higher incidence of cancer. COVID-19, we've seen that here in the last few years. and accidents, unintentional injuries. This is the one that kind of puzzles me. Well, not necessarily puzzles me, but I know why. Because men, we do crazy stuff. Just today, I saw a guy on his Harley Road Glide, beautiful bike. He didn't have on the first helmet, and the outfit he had on, had he hit the ground, he was going to leave most of his skin on that ground and probably end up being an organ donor. He was an organ donor on wheels. Beautiful bike. But if anybody had to cut him off today in this beautiful weather, yeah, he'd have been in the hospital and they'd have been taking all his organs because he probably would have been brain dead. But we ride motorbikes and do dangerous things and we don't think about it sometimes. So from a mortality standpoint, number of deaths of all ages of men, a little over 1.7 million men are going to die from these top causes. And deaths per 100,000 in the population are going to be about, for every 100,000 men in the population, about 1,090, roughly 1,100 are going to die from these causes. Now, circle of influence. Now, I've coined this term. I don't know if you've heard it anywhere, but if you haven't, you heard it here first, priority male. Influence. Your circle of influence are those guys that you roll with on a regular basis. Those guys you get in trouble with all the time. Your partners, your homeboys, your road dogs. You sitting with them right now, watching the game, drinking and probably smoking if you ain't watching this. But that's the group that has a lot of influence on your life. And you'll be amazed at how that group can influence you to do some things that are not always good. We all men, we know what that looks like, and we've been there, done that. Now let's talk about the top 10 places men go more frequently than they go to the doctor. We're going to laugh a little here. The church. Now I want you to understand what I mean when I say about the church. Some men are avid Christians, avid churchgoers. They go on a regular basis. But some of them end up in the church and don't know they're there because 6 strong men had to carry them in there. Y'all will get that later. Nightclub, bar, restaurant, of course, it's a no-brainer. Food, booze, and boobs. Women, come on now, we going. We know we going. Barbershop. A lot of us in the barbershop, we don't need to be there, like myself. As you can see, I ain't got no hair on my head. All I got is a beard, and I don't need to be in no man's barber's chair. But some of us go there because that's where all the news is. We get all the news on the streets, word on the streets, what's going down. You get some of the best plates that come through there, and all the newest movies. Y'all know what's up. You know how we do it. The barbershop is like a swap meet. And we in there. Some of y'all barbers are taking y'all money because you ain't got no hairline, but you in there anyway. But a lot goes down in the barbershop. More half-truths and whole lies are told in the barbershop than I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't listen to that information you get at the barbershop, because a lot of it is the quickest way to the grave, especially when you're talking about below-the-belt issues, because there's always one guy over there in the corner. He done been to 1,200 doctors and know everything, and he ain't got the first degree, but he going to tell you how to do it. Anyway, mechanic shop, automotive shop. Remember that check engine light come on? Yeah, we going there. We going to find a wrench total, somebody to get this right. Cell phone store, electronics, sports department. A lot of guys are into technology, and we get a new phone every other year, it seems like it, or a new one's dropping every few months. So we buying a phone and we taking care of it. You may have a laptop at home. Some of us have smart homes where we have a lot of technology in our homes. So we're always buying stuff to keep that updated, because technology, the curve or the lifespan of some of this technology is not long. In sports departments, I'm an avid gun owner and I love to go to the range. I'm in sports departments a lot of time buying ammunition. So I know guys in there. Home Depot and Lowe's. Yeah, you got your weekend warriors. Just pull up at any of these stores on the weekend. You're going to see all the F-150s, all the Silverados and Dodge Rams, and they in there with the buggies or with the little carts, buying all the stuff, trying to do those home projects. I totally understand. Again, gun range, gun shop, we there, because men like to do guns. And sporting events, again, this is a no-brainer. We like sports. There's food, there's booze, and there's likely women. We going. And we going to watch a sport we enjoy. Come on now. Now, pediatrician. Some guys raise their eyebrows when they hear this one. But let me tell you about the pediatrician, and hear me out. If you got a son, let's say Trey the next Patrick Mahomes. He going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. And he in good shape, but he's in school, and you got to take him to get his vaccines. And if your wife or your significant other trusts you enough to take him to his well child visits, guess what? You're going to take Trey to the pediatrician more than you take yourself to the doctor. Tell me I'm wrong, because I done seen it happen. Been there, done it myself. But yeah, Trey going to get them shots. He going to get all the stuff he needs so he can make this sports team and get to the NFL. We already know somebody doing it right now. They got a pediatrician appointment scheduled Monday, and they're going to make sure he get to that doctor. And then they're going to ignore going to the doctor for themselves. And lastly, for the 30% of men that do exercise, gym and athletic clubs, if you didn't know, the gym and athletic clubs have now turned into the literal clubs. They just don't serve alcohol. But yeah, I exercise on a regular basis, and it's sad to see what's going on in the gyms today, because some of these women come in there with their face beat to the gods. I'm like, how did you come in here to exercise? We're supposed to sweat. You look like you're going to the club in them shorts and yoga pants. Yeah, you need to revisit that, baby. But anyway, yeah, we in the gym, and a lot of us are in there texercising, which I like to call it, and not exercising. But anyway, wanted to share that with you and have you laugh a little bit, because all of y'all can see all of them scenarios I'm talking about, because you know it's real. Now, who's going to the doctor? Women are 3 times more likely to go to the doctor. We know this to be true because women go often. And if you ever sat and listened to women talk, it will burn your ears, especially if they got a little wine flowing or they got the mimosas flowing, because they're going to talk about everything under the sun, everything under their clothes. And for sure, you know, they're going to drag us over the coals. They're going to talk about what we ain't doing. Yeah, don't sit and listen to women, because you're going to be mad. But so why do men not hate going to the doctor? Fear of the unknown. Well, men, my mindset of men is, well, if I don't know about it, ain't nothing I need to do about it. I'm good. I'm going to keep it moving. Fear loss of control. Men like control, and the older we get, the more control we want. And if we can't control the situation, hell, we don't want nothing to do with it. Fear of being considered weak. Back to that pack of men that you roll with, that circle of menfluence. If you think you the alpha dog of that pack, and then they find out you going to the doctor on a regular basis, your boy's going to be giving you the side out like, man, what's up with you? What's up with Willie over here? He in the doctor's office all the time. You don't want to be considered weak, so you don't go. And you forego your health, and you end up dying prematurely because you're trying to prove a point to them that means nothing. And then we're just stubborn and not willing to change. Come on now. And this is just not for men. There's a lot of women just like this too. But men, notoriously, we are pretty stubborn, and we ain't going because we, again, can't control it, fear the unknown, and we don't want to be weak. Now, even the healthiest man needs to visit the doctor on a regular basis. Now, knowing this slide, I say every 2 years up until age 50, but I'm going to tell you right now, man, I actually recommend you go every year, because most of our health insurances cover that annual physical. So, especially after 50, you need to see your doctor every year. If you're in decent health and you're doing the things you need to do, you can probably get by every other year, but I would recommend still seeing your doctor annually. And I love this cartoon here. It said, what fits into your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? Choice is yours. All right. And then a lot of times, this is what we hear about in the barbershop or on the streets. I wish you had come to see me soon. You know, there's always somebody got the worst case scenario. Don't go to the doctor because they're going to always find something. They're going to tell you to go home and get your casket and everything ready. Now, I hope you got something out of that first part of prevention. Now, let's talk about the topic of the hour. This is the meat and potatoes here. Prostate cancer. Now, I want you to pay attention to this anatomy here. I want you to look at the one on your left. That is a normal prostate, a normal bladder. You got the prostate at the base of the bladder, and then you have the urethra, which is the tube in which your urine passes from your bladder out of your body. Now, your prostate is a walnut-sized gland that sits at the base of the bladder, okay? Now, when you see that anatomy, you know why your urine should flow freely. Now, as we get older now, man, I'm going to be honest with you. That prostate gland is going to grow regardless if it's cancer or not, because there are two conditions that, prostate cancer and benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, is a condition that can mimic prostate cancer, as you see on the right. Now, let's look at this picture on the right. Same anatomy, but I want you to look at that prostate gland and look at that prostate cancer that's there and see how it's compressing that urethra. Now, on the left, you see the urine flows freely. On the right, you see you go to urinate and it only drips or trickles a little bit, okay? But benign prostatic hyperplasia can do this as well. And the only way you're going to know the difference, man, is you go see your doctor, okay? Now, let's talk about the screening. Screening for prostate cancer can be done with the prostate-specific antigen, or the PSA, which is a blood test, and it can be done with or without the digital rectal exam, the finger. I want to repeat that. It's the PSA blood work with or without the digital rectal exam. And your doctor will determine if that rectal exam is warranted based on your presentation in the clinic and symptoms that we're going to talk about later. Okay. So again, don't fear the finger. Now, one thing I want to share with you men right here, and this is another nugget I want to leave with you. If you are going to have your prostate cancer screening done and you're going to do the PSA blood work, hear me on this one. If you know you have your PSA blood work scheduled for a couple of days, you should not have relations of any kind with your female partner or self-pleasure yourself 2 to 3 days prior to that PSA. I want to repeat that. If you know you have your PSA blood work scheduled a couple of days out, say for instance, you know you got an appointment on Friday, last time you need to get with your wife, your girl, or however you do it, it should be Tuesday, because you need 2 to 3 days in between to allow your PSA to normalize, because every time you climax, that can alter your PSA. And I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know, and I'm telling you what I've done. Okay. So if you don't remember anything, please remember this, so that you make sure that you get an absolute normal PSA for you when you go. Make sure you haven't had relations 2 to 3 days prior to your scheduled blood collection. All right. That's a nugget. Make sure you plug it. Now, your prostate specific antigen is made of cells in the prostate, and most healthy men have a small amount of PSA, which is normally going to be less than 4 nanograms per milliliter in their blood. Now, everybody's PSA is going to be a little bit different. The only way you're going to know what's normal for you is if you start the screening and you see your doctor on a regular basis, and you can trend it over time, meaning that you can check it several years and know that your normal is, 0.4 or whatever it is for you. So you can't compare yours to your one of your partners. You can't compare it because it's going to be a little different. All right. But 0 to 4 has been considered normal in the past, and it still is, but you need to know what yours is so you can know where you fall. Now, neither the PSA test nor the digital rectal exam is 100% accurate. I want to repeat that. Neither the PSA test nor the digital rectal exam, the finger, is 100% absent. And I want to say that because some men think that, well, if I had my PSA done as normal, I don't need to go back. And you don't know how many men I have seen that had a PSA test done 5 years ago, and now they show up with some of the symptoms we're going to talk about here in a minute and wonder what's going on because they didn't follow up. All right. But these are not accurate, but they are all we have, and they're great screening tools. And from this, we can glean a lot from your history and know what we might need to do additionally based on what you're saying you're experiencing. Okay. Now, abnormal test results don't always mean that there is cancer present. And normal test results don't always mean that they're the absence of cancer. Okay. If cancer is found, neither test can tell how likely this cancer is to grow and spread, but it is used as a screening tool to help aid in diagnosis and getting you to the next level in care. All right. Now, I wanted to add a little more humor here. I wanted you guys to kind of see what what a digital rectal exam, the finger, looks like. Most guys, I love cartoons, and Peter Griffin is a pretty funny cartoon. But as you can see, if you've seen this cartoon before, he's going to freak out when the guy do the exam. Then you got the cat in the top right corner. He cool, calm, and collected, like, yeah, doc, let's go and do this and get it over with. Then you got the guy in the bottom left corner. And this is an odd one here because it almost looked like the guy doing the prostate exam is either his brother or himself. I don't understand that one, but of course he is dramatic about it. And then you got the veteran in the bottom right corner. He looked like he had this a couple of times, and he like, all right, let's get this over with so I can get on with my day. But yeah, this is what there's a variation of what people fear when it comes to having this done. Now, prostate cancer facts, and this is per the American Cancer Society. Prostate cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men in the U.S., just behind lung cancer. I want to repeat that. Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death among men in the United States, just behind lung cancer. All right. About 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during his lifetime, and only 1 in 41 will die from prostate cancer. I want to repeat that. 1 in 8 will be diagnosed in their lifetime, but only 1 in 41 will die. Those are not bad odds compared to where it was when I started practicing 25 years ago. All right. About 6 in 10 cases are diagnosed in men age 65 and older, with the median age of diagnosis being 66. All right. Black men, unfortunately, we have the highest incident of everything in this country for some reason, and I'm not sure why, but I would love for them to study that a little bit more, because I don't understand how we are the smallest minority here, but we got the highest rate of everything. But some of it is because we don't trust the system, and we have some genetic predispositions that place us at a higher risk in lifestyle. But yeah, that's still, the jury's out on some of that. And most men will not die from their disease. All right. Now let's talk about more of the numbers. At a glance, in 2022, the National Cancer Institute report that there's going to be an estimated 268,490 new cases of prostate cancer. And this is prostate cancer is going to represent 14% of all new cancers. And deaths in 2022 is estimated to be at about 34,500 people out of almost 270,000. And of all cancer deaths, this only represents 5.7%. These are not bad numbers. And your overall percentage of surviving at 5 years is 96.8. That's an A+ in my book. I'll take it any day. Now, by the numbers, for every 100,000 men, about 113 are going to be diagnosed with prostate cancer. For every 100,000 men, about 19 are going to die, giving you a relative lifetime risk of 12.6% of men being diagnosed with prostate cancer based on the 2017 through 2019 numbers. All right. Now, in 2019, this is the prevalence, and this is always a little bit delayed because we have to take the information from the previous years, extrapolate that data, analyze it to come to these numbers. So it's always a few years behind. It's always about 3 to 4 years behind with the prevalence information. But in 2019, it's estimated that 3.2 million men were living with prostate cancer in the United States. You had a median age at diagnosis of 66 and a median age of death at 80 years of age. Now, we talking predominantly to brothers here tonight, brothers and sisters here tonight. And a lot of people in our community live in the 80. So, yeah, when some of us ain't getting to 66, and that's a whole nother conversation we can have. But as you can see, based on these numbers, median age is 66, death at 80. Some of us are gone way before either one of these ages, right? Now, let's talk about some symptoms, signs and symptoms. This is what you've been waiting for. Generalized bone pain. Now, let me make sure you understand what I mean by this. This ain't arthritis. This ain't this ain't arthur. This ain't it's about to rain. My knee got an ache in it, or I got an ache in my back. It ain't that type of pain. No. And it ain't like you did a little extra work this weekend in the yard. You put down a tree ring, or you added some stones to the yard and you got a little sore. It ain't that type of pain. This is that deep-seated bone pain that you can't even explain. It's like you probably been sitting around, you ain't even moving, and it feel like somebody beat you with some chains. It's that kind of pain, and it's very intense. All right. Then you have pain with urination. Now, I want to preface this. If you out in them streets and you ain't strapping up, there's another situation we need to talk about. But if you know you in a monogamous relationship and you ain't fooling around and you got pain with urination, yeah, this could be prostate. All right. Difficulty starting and maintaining a steady stream or dribbling afterwards. As we men get older, we start to notice that, you can't start like you used to. Stream ain't near as strong. You used to could hit the corner of the room with it, but you can't barely hit the toilet now. And then it's running all down your leg. Yeah, but this is going to be really exacerbated because as we men get older, some of us are going to experience this to a certain extent. But you'll know that it's exacerbated because you can't hold it and you can't get in time to handle your business. You need to talk to your doctor. Excessive nocturnal urination. Now, what does this mean? This means you are getting up every hour on the hour when you go to sleep to go to the restroom. And your wife is already tired of you snoring, and now you getting up and out of the bed and turning on all the lights, and she is showing up upset because you bothering her. And she done already told you several times, you need to take your behind to the doctor and see something ain't right. And we won't listen. We won't listen. But men, if you're getting up 1 to 2 times a night, that's okay. And you have to understand, if you drink fluids up until your bedtime, up until you close your eyes, as we get older, especially if you're in the 40s and 50s and 60s, If you got a cup of water beside your bed, yeah, you're going to pee way more than you should at night. And if that is a problem, the way to test this is to cut off your fluids at least an hour and a half to 2 hours before your bedtime. And that should tremendously reduce the amount of times you're getting up at night. But if you sipping on water or drinking beer, whatever, you got a cup of ice at the bedside and you doing all that till you go to sleep, yeah, you're going to get up a lot. But if you're not doing that and you're getting up a lot, this could be a sign that your prostate is having some issues. All right. Then lastly, frequent urination, leaking, urinary retention, or a weak stream. This is where, again, you having to go to the bathroom every so many minutes and you never feel like you completely empty your bladder. It's leaking all down your leg. You mess up your pants. You got wet stains in your pants all the time. And then when you do go, you're in there straining to go and it's like a teardrop. That's a problem. You need to talk to your doctor because that should not be happening. All right. Now let's focus on this cartoon on this page to the right where it talks about prostate cancer. As you can see, stage 1, top right, you see that little cancer where it's pointing to the cancer in the prostate. Cancer is very small. We can do something about that. We have great treatment that can get rid of that. Go to stage 2, bottom left. You can see the cancer is still confined to the prostate capsule. And what I'm meaning is it's still within the prostate gland. It hasn't gotten outside of the prostate, so it's localized. But when you see stage 3, middle, bottom, it is outside of the prostate, is into the vessels, and this is a problem. This is called metastatic disease now because it's no longer just in the prostate. And then, of course, stage 4 to the far bottom right corner. There's only 4 stages of cancer, and this is one you don't want. But stage 4, it's not a good outcome. It is spread everywhere. Bones, bladder, and likely colon as well. Okay. Now, let's talk about screening. When should you be screened? If you're older than age 40, you're African American, you live in North America, Northwest Europe, Australia, the Caribbean islands, and you have a family history, dad, uncle, brother, you need to have the screening. And of course, if you have a poor diet and you're overweight, these are the top risk factors that increase your risk of developing prostate cancer. And I know you're wondering, why the geography? Why North America, Northwest Europe, Australia, and Caribbean? Because those are considered some of the fattest countries because we have access to great food that is high in saturated fat, sugar, and salt. And we also are well-developed countries where we have a lot of technology where people don't move a lot. And I know some people may question that in the Caribbean islands, but most of us go there because of tourism. And guess what? Who's pumping money into the economy there? We are. So yeah, it's some people that are living high on the hog, literally. All right. Now, this is a funny one here. Check out that cartoon, y'all. Check it out. Let's pause and look at this cartoon. That is Dr. Goldfinger. Guys always want to see your finger size. I know when I worked in primary care and they would come in, hey, doc, hey, how you doing, man? They want to shake your hand. Let me see your fingers, man. I said, what? See my fingers? Yeah, man, I'm here today for that appointment, and I need to see what kind of hands you got on you. And they always laugh about this guy, Dr. Goldfinger. Just check out the reaction of some of the people in this photo. You know, it's crazy because you get this when they see your hands, and it's like, really, who's next? But let's talk about the methods here. Prostate cancer the guidelines for cancer screening for prostate have changed in the last 10 years. If you didn't know, it has changed. We used to blanket screen everyone, but we found out that wasn't the most efficient way to do it. So they have changed the guidelines. And as you can see here, starting at age 50 is where you should start screening based on your risk factors. Early detection, mortality benefit. You need to have a conversation with your doctor and make sure that you are on the right schedule as far as being screened or not being screened. And again, you need to have a case-by-case basis with your doctor about the rectal exam and the PSA and making sure you're making an informed decision based on your family risk factors, your symptoms, and your age. And if you choose not to screen, that is your call. You don't have to because the information doesn't support that we screen everyone. Only those that have significant risk factors, as we talked about in the previous slide. And as far as what you can do to prevent prostate cancer, try to eat a healthy diet, maintain a healthy weight, and watch your tobacco use. All right. Now, lastly here, counseling. Some regular housekeeping and counseling recommendations we should always talk about. Smoking cessation is important. If you're smoking, I encourage you to stop smoking, especially if you're doing, a pack a day or more. That is a significant risk for lung cancer and prostate cancer. Control your blood glucose and cholesterol levels. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol, you need to make sure you control those because that help reduce risk factors for heart disease. Diet. We should try to eat a healthy diet. A DASH diet is recommended, and the DASH stands for diet to stop high blood pressure. And basically, it's low salt. Moderate alcohol consumption. Men can have 2 drinks per day. Women 1 drink per day. And no, you cannot save them up and drink them on the weekend. I have patients ask this all the time. That's when they want to bust a case on the weekend because they feel like they ain't drank all week. I can bust a case on the weekend. No, sir. And you got to reduce your sodium intake to more than 2,400 milligrams per day. If you go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac combo, you've already satisfied your sodium intake for the day. And imagine some people go to McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's why the golden arches are in our communities, and they've been slowly killing us for years, but no one wants to talk about that. Physical activity, moderate to vigorous activity, 3 to 4 days per week. It's averaging 40 minutes per session. Actually, you need about 30 minutes, 5 days a week, 150 minutes total per week to help reduce your risk factors and maintain good health. Again, safety injuries, wear your seatbelt, put your helmet on, all that stuff. See the dentist every 6 months and make sure you're up to date on your immunizations. And as we get older, the only immunization we really need to focus on is going to be a tetanus shot every 10 years. Tetanus shot every 10 years. I want to repeat that. Tetanus is in the soil in most of the counties, in most states. And if you get a bad bite or cut or step on a nail, if you hadn't had a tetanus shot in a while, you need to be updated. Pneumovax or pneumonia shot when you get into your 60s, shingle shot when you get into your 60s. And that's really it as we get into our 4th, 5th, and 6th decade, 7th decade of life. Outside of your annual flu shot and whatever this COVID situation is going to turn out to be, we're going to be having to do that along with the flu. All right. That said, you are in perfect health, which I'm afraid is an early sign something is eventually going to go wrong. Because again, regardless how healthy you think you are, you're going to need to see the doctor and you potentially have something. So with that said, man, if your check engine light comes on, be sure to service your engine soon. And always remember that it's easier to stay well than it is to get well. Hashtag Priority Male. You heard it here first. Is always remember that it's easier to stay well than it is to get well. If you have questions offline and you want a question answered, you can visit the website here, www.PriorityMaleLLC.com. And remember, that's Priority Male, P-R-Y, not P-R-I. I changed the Y to an I because it takes an X and a Y chromosome to create a male, and this is Priority Male, where men's health is the priority. So Priority Male, PRYORITYMALELLC.com. And here are the resources that I got all this information from that I'm happy to share with you all. And if you are on social media, you want to follow me. I'm active on social media. I post daily. And right now on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, we are talking about sciatica. But I talk about a lot of different topics, and it's growing pretty rapidly. And I would appreciate your support. Pick a poison, what you like, and follow me. And here they are. Priority Male LLC. TikTok is Priority Male LLC. Facebook and YouTube is Priority Male. Instagram and Twitter is Priority Male. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not active on Twitter and on my YouTube as much as I need to be, but I'm working to get the YouTube up to speed. But I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So pick your poison, join the Priority Male family, and I look forward to seeing you. And that concludes our presentation for tonight. And I will stop sharing. And yeah, let's get to the questions, what we have, brothers. Hope you all got something out of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Taylor.
You're welcome.
Brother Johnson, do we have any questions? Oh, there we go.
All right, what we got? Just hit 40, so when do I need to get checked? Well, brother, talk with your doctor. Make sure you understand your risk factors. Again, if your dad has prostate cancer before the age of 60, you're high risk. Uncle or brother as well, if they've had it at a young age, you need to talk with your doctor and see when or should you be screened. But that's going to be a case-by-case basis because, again, we used to blanket screen everyone, but we don't screen everyone like we used to. So have that conversation with your doctor and go from there. Don't be scared. As irritated question. That's fine. So I mean, a lot of them know. A lot of time, guys are very bashful. They don't want to talk. They don't want to ask those questions. So, but I saw one. What are the chances that cancer can spread beyond the prostate? Well, prostate cancer is a slow-growing cancer. However, men, as black men, we sometimes have the more aggressive form. And if you're going to be screened, you must follow up. And I can't stress that enough. I have seen so many men that look like me. They get screened once. They show up because their wife been pressuring them, their family been pressuring them, so they want everybody to leave them alone. So they go get screened, and then they never come back. And when they come back with all them symptoms I just ran down. Can't urinate, bone pain, they losing weight, blood in the urine. And they're like, how long has this been going on? Oh, it's been going on about 3 years now, doc. Well, when were you screened? Oh, I was screened when Trey went off to college. What? And then now Trey 27 years old. What the world? What's going on here? But yeah. So if you're gonna get screened, make sure you follow up. Okay, but yes, it can spread beyond the prostate, brother. And if it does, they're not good outcomes. I'm gonna be very honest with you. All right. If diagnosed with the average life time frame on the chance of recovering or going into remission. So within 5 years, if you're diagnosed and you do what you need to do to follow up, your chances of making a full recovery in remission is 96.8%, which means if you go and get diagnosed, you pick a treatment plan that you agree with your doctor and your oncologist, and you successfully complete it, in 5 years, you'll be cancer-free, brother. You'll be cancer-free. So again, it wasn't this 25 years ago. Trust me. When I first started in nursing in the late 90s, man, if we diagnosed someone with prostate cancer, we pretty much told them to go home, write their eulogy, pick out their suit, and go buy a casket and get ready to go take the dirt nap. That's what we used to tell them back in the day. But prostate cancer treatment has advanced in the last 20 years, and it is so much more better today than it was those years ago. And even if you need to have surgery, man, a lot of men get worried about being medically castrated. And what I mean by that is they think that the prostate cancer treatment or having it removed will cause them to have impotence. They have advanced prostate surgery to today where they're doing it robotically with the microsurgery, where they can salvage all the nerves that won't cause you to be impotent after the surgery. So don't let that fear cause you to not get the treatment that you need. How does prostate removal, again, I was kind of alluding to that there. So how does it affect? So your prostate gland only provides nourishing liquid for your semen, your sperm, to travel into the female's vagina, okay? If it is removed, it's not going to change much. Your volume at the climax may be a little lower, but as far as your performance, if you have the procedure done by a urologist that specializes in salvaging that nerve, you're not going to notice that big of a difference, but you got to wait until you recover. You got to wait until you recover because they're in a recovery period. And there's some Kegel exercises that we should be doing to strengthen the pelvic floor to enhance that after surgery. But they'll walk you through that. But yeah, outcomes are really good, and affecting your bedroom performance is not near what it was 20 years ago. Do you offer recommendations for a primary care doctor? Well, it depends on where you are. If you're here in the city of Houston, I can help you out. But if you're not, what I encourage you to do is go to Black Doctors. What is that one? I just shared one on my platform. There are a number of organizations online that you can Google Black Doctors, or you can Google primary care doctors of color. And you can find out then you can tailor it to your area by entering your zip code. But there are a couple of apps out there, and if you Google it, it'll be easy to find. And I encourage you to interview several, because I'm gonna tell you right now, some doctors like to talk at you and not to you. And if you go to a doctor and you feel like they see you as a number, that's probably not the doctor for you. And if you get that feeling that they really don't care, they just here trying to collect, that's probably not the doctor for you. But because there's so many of them, so just go to the next one. But yeah, but I'll check it out online. Just Google for Black doctors. If you're looking specifically for a Black doctor, there's ways to find that in your area online. Are there any medications that help shrink the prostate? No. The short answer to that is no. Now, saw palmetto, which has been out there for a long time, There's not enough science to support it as a recommendation. Some guys get great benefits from saw palmetto, but the science over the years, we've studied this for many years, and the science is just not there for it to shrink. Now, there are some prescription medicines, doxyzosine, terazosin, that we use in clinical practice that help with lower urinary tract symptoms in a person that is diagnosed with BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is the overgrowth of the prostate. And these are supposed to slow the growth of the prostate and help release or relax the smooth muscle in that area so you can urinate more freely and not have that difficulty urination. But as far as shrinking it, not per se. What does a general treatment plan look like for someone diagnosed with prostate cancer? Again, there's so many avenues here, Brother Morrison, on this. And again, that is why you're going to have that conversation with your doctor, because treatment can be X-ray therapy, XRT, which is external beam radiation to the prostate area, where you have X-rays. Nuclear medicine, you go to nuclear medicine, they don't do any surgery. And then they give you injections or a pill to take to fight the prostate cancer. That's one of them, and then one of the minimally invasive ones. Then you can get to where they go in and put in beads into the prostate where the cancer is that release radiation and medicine to shrink and kill the prostate. This is a little bit more invasive, but you keep your prostate. And my father-in-law actually had that particular procedure done, and he did quite well. He didn't have any issues afterwards. And then you can get very surgically invasive to where you go and have to have a robotic prostatectomy, to where you go to the operating room and they do microsurgery to remove the prostate gland itself, totally removing the cancer. And pretty much you have a surgical cure, especially the cancer is confined to the prostate, and they salvage your nerves where you can still have bedroom performance once you fully recover. But it can range for a different couple of different things depending on what you as the patient are willing to entertain. And the doctors, the oncologists, the urologists will give you all the numbers so you can make an informed decision that you're comfortable with. All right, my dad had prostate surgery 4 years ago, and I make sure I stay on top of this. He also had bone injections, treatments. He's cancer-free now. It picked up early during his annual. Thank you for sharing that situation, your experience, Brother Williams, because this is why it's so important. We go to the doctor on a regular basis to have an annual exam. You can't find anything if you don't show up. And then we ain't intentionally looking for this stuff now. Let's be real. Some people think we trying to find something so we can put you in the ground or send you to this person or send you over there. We're not doing that. There again, I said in the presentation, all of the screening that's going to save your life take place between the age of 40 and 75. That's when you have that conversation with your doctor and you decide what you are willing to move forward from a screening standpoint. And if something is found, if you catch it early, you're being proactive and not reactive. And we have a very good fighting chance at this turning out in your favor if it's caught early. But if you don't go to the doctor, and I'm going to give you a good example here and we'll finish here. I had a patient told me one time I saw him. I've been seeing him for quite a while. He was like in his late 40s, early 50s. And he prided himself in not, when he came to see me the first time, he said he hadn't been to the doctor since Trey was, what do you say? I hadn't been to the doctor since Trey was in the 7th grade. And Trey was like a grown man. And I'm looking at him like, and it was like a 15, 20-year period at this time. I'm looking at him like, what? And he was like thumping his chest like, I ain't been to the doctor since Trey was in 7th grade. I'm like, man, we need to check everything on you because we don't know what's been missed, what we need to look at. And thankfully, he maintained a good health because he was a coach, so he was physically fit. But he did have a few things we had to address, but nothing that cost him his life. But don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that will not go to the doctor for any reason. And then when you show up, you ain't been in 10 years and then they find all these different things and then you get the worst case scenario. So, but great questions, brothers. I hope you all got something out of this presentation. Again, you can follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm live like this all the time on those platforms. I'm a little bit more laid back, maybe use a little bit more adult language on those other platforms, but I try to keep it real because I don't want you to be stressed. I want you to be comfortable listening, learning, and get something from this and take it and share it with the men in your circle, man, you know?
Brother Taylor, I have a question for you.
Go for it, brother.
So I went to get inquired about the prostate. I think prostate exam. I think I was maybe 42, and they told me the age was 45.
Yeah, they've changed it. Like
Okay.
prostate cancer and colon cancer screening, and for you being a black man, yeah, 45 is good. But the thing is, if your dad, your brother, or your uncle had it before age 60, this is the key. If they had it before age 60, that places you at a much higher risk. And if you were seeing me, when you showed up at 42 and you told me all of that, we're going to get the blood work, because we ain't finna wait on, especially if you want to be screened, okay?
Yeah, and I did have the blood work. I did have the PSA.
Okay, well, you're good. That's a good baseline, because think about it like this. Let me give you a good scenario here. With the PSA, we look at it over years. So let's say over a 4-year period. If your PSA, and I'm going to tell you how we kind of get when we get scared. At year 1, your PSA is 0.2. At year 2, it's same 0.2. At year 3, it's 0.4. So it didn't change much. But then at year 4, it's now 2.5. That's a problem, because what we look at is velocity of change over time. So you went over 4 years, you went from 0.2 to 0.2 to 0.4 to now all of a sudden 2.5. That is a red flag and needs to be worked up, because that is cancer until proven otherwise. That is why it's so important. If you're going to be screened, you do your serial prostate readings every year, and you make sure you follow up. And if they remain normal for you, they fluctuate between 0.2 and 0.5, 0.6. That's nothing to write home about. We don't need to do anything. But if they all of a sudden jump into the single digits and like 3 times what it was, that's a red flag, and you need to be worked up to rule out cancer.
Right. So, you know this, and a few people know this, but, I haven't basically eaten almost 24 hours because I have a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Push through, brother. Push through.
But it was funny, because when I went to my doctor, and I was thinking prostate, but I told him colon. And so when the people called me and they sent me all of this book, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought the finger exam. And then I had to realize, I told him, he was like, well, you need to get it anyway, so don't cancel it. I was like, all right, well.
Yeah, get it done, brother. Yeah, I'm 45. I've had my colonoscopy. The hardest part about it is the prep. I feel you, because we think we're gonna fly away or fade away with that one day of not eating. I know how it is. It's tough. But this is the hardest part. When you go to have a procedure, man, they're gonna give you some good medicine, and you're gonna wake up in the recovery room. You're gonna even remember the exam. So hope it goes well.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you, Brother George. That's it. That's all the questions, sir.
All right.
Well, Brother Taylor, again, Xi Phi Lambda, we try to be innovative, and we try to be creative, and we try to do things in the community that needs to be addressed, and a love for all mankind. But we have to be honest that we try to do things specifically for African Americans, and making sure we get that agenda and that agenda pushed. And thank you on behalf of our president, which was our brother Martell Morrison, and the Xi Phi Lambda leadership. We want to thank you because you could have not done this. Because a lot of things could have went wrong, and we were back and forth for the last 2-3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
But again, on behalf of us, the District of South Carolina, and all the brothers worldwide, and all the people watching, we want to sincerely thank you, my brother.
You're more than welcome, Brother Seabrook. I appreciate you, man, and all the great things your chapter is doing there in Summerville, South Carolina. And again, to your chapter leadership, and to Brother Johnson behind the scenes making this happen. Thank you, brothers, for this opportunity. It's always good to be in the presence of the brothers and the fellowship. Goodwill is the moniker of this house, brothers, and we always doing things to help advance our community and advance our people. So, if I can make time for this, I'm gonna make time for this, man. So I sure appreciate this. And again, thank you all. I hope your followers got something out of this, and keep me posted for future events. Maybe we collab in the future, brothers. Thank you so much.
Right. Until everybody who's still on, just please stay on for a few, maybe a minute or two, so you can see what the Xi Phi Lambda chapter seated in Summerville, South Carolina, doing. And Brother Eric, thank you.
You're welcome, brother. I appreciate y'all.
All right. We having our Alpha Week 2022, of course, starting at December 3rd at 4 o'clock. We having a Reclamation Brotherhood Smoke. Simple. We're trying to get brothers back in the fold. And it's going to be at 1430 Meeting Street Road at the Smoking Rules Speakeasy. Brother Johnson, next one. Then we have Founders Day started all at Cornell, Sunday, December 4th, which is our Founders Day. It's kind of tentative what we're going to do at this point, but that's where we'll be. On Monday, December 5th, we will be reclaiming our goal again, reaching out, trying to get brothers back active. December 6th, 2022 at 9 a.m. at the school to be announced. Later on, we're going to do Let's Tie Things Up, where we teach young males to tie a tie and bow tie. And Alpha Men Do Read is one of our signature programs, which will be December 6th at 9 a.m. at the school to be determined. And our walk and run with the Alphas, which would be at Arthur Ravenel Bridge, right there in Mount Pleasant, the Circle K gas station. If you want to do that, come walk and run with us. You can RSVP at Xi Phi Lambda 0384 at gmail.com. And last, well, not last, but Thursday, December 8th, 2022, which will be at Cummins Memorial Theological Seminary, 705 South Main Street, Summerville, South Carolina. We will have our informational meeting. If you're interested in becoming an Alpha candidate and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, please share it, come along, make sure you're dressed in business attire. You're not dressed in business attire, you will not be admitted in. An old gold and black drip Friday. You know, George is 80 years old and he using the word drip. On Friday, December 9th, wear and rep your colors and post on social media. That's mainly pertaining to us. But if brothers who are not in our chapter or brothers in general, feel free to join us on this campaign. And last but not least, again, if you want to come out, anybody, you know, you're a brother, you're in another organization, you're in a sorority, if you want to come to our Adopt the Highway, we service the road right in front of Cane Bay, Publix, which is 1724 State Road, Summerville, South Carolina. Hey, we always have a good time. We either do breakfast or lunch and fellowship, but anybody can come and we'll love to have you. And last but not least, February 11th, 2023 Black Ice Scholarship Gala. Welcome to the Gold Room. Translation, welcome to the Casino Room. It will be held at the Conference Center at the Thornley campus, Trident Technical College, 7000 Rivers Avenue, North Charleston, South Carolina, 29406. At 6 o'clock in the evening, we will have live entertainment, a band and a DJ, and the 3 entree buffet and open bar. Formal attire tickets is $100, and we will release this in the next couple of days. Brother Taylor, again, and you see the great work we're doing, and obviously we commend the great work you're doing, my brother. I salute you and your endeavors. I'm going to follow you. Whoever is still on, please make sure you follow Brother Taylor on this platform. George, before we go, can we put that back up? Eric, can you put that back up right fast? I don't want anybody to miss that. Oh, we can share it on our platform if we can.
Okay, there it is at the bottom. And like I say, when you go find me on one of those, you'll see the young man with the stethoscope. I had the beard dyed back then. I had that Beijing down. You know what I'm saying? I let the gray come in. So, but yeah, you'll see me. You'll know it's me. And then you just follow and stay tuned. And if you have a topic you want me to discuss, send me a message, and I promise you, I'm gonna get it out because I want to share all that I know with all of you, so we can do our part to lead this world better than we found it. And y'all guys are doing some great things. I salute you, my brothers. Keep up the great work, man.
Peace and love to you, and we'll find another topic to get you back on, man. 06, my brother.
06 brothers, appreciate y'all, man. Peace.
Thank everybody for listening and tuning in, and thank everybody for their questions. We love each and every one of you. We cannot put this on without you. And one major shout out is the man behind the scenes who never don't want to be in the camera, but he makes all of this happen. So everything you see from the ticker, from the camera to the dry runs to him getting on your nerve is none other than our brother George Johnson. On behalf of the chapter, we salute you. You always, when we come to this technical part, you always hold us down. And to everybody again who was listening, we appreciate you. Peace and love.